Chiefs fans, we are nearing 73,000 subscribers here on the channel. The only thing missing is you, less than 200 away from reaching that next milestone. If you would like to be a part of our nonstop training camp coverage, you got to be subscribed to the channel. We're bringing you daily news and rumors, live shows, breaking news, Q&A mailbags, and more, all right here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/ChiefsTV, and we'll get started with today's show. Chiefs training camp rolls on, and on this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report, we are going to go over our top winners and losers so far as we're just over a week into this thing. Tyler Jones, your fearless leader, here with you. Thanks for joining us. In life, you can be one of two things. You are either a winner or a loser, and on today's program, we are going to break down the standouts from the first few days and also who has some work to do as we go over the losers list coming up in a moment. Let's begin on the winner's side with none other than quarterback Patrick Mahomes makes the winner's list, and this one's pretty obvious, right? Patrick Mahomes coming in off of his worst season, statistically speaking, in 2024, but that was still good enough to win 15 games in the regular season, the number one seed in the AFC, a Super Bowl appearance, and all of that. But for Mahomes, there was some work to do heading into 2025, and he also got some additional help along the way as well. One of the things that Mahomes in particular is working on right now is expanding the downfield passing game, which we have not seen a ton of since the departure of Tyreek Hill. Mahomes saying this: I have to be better at throwing the ball down the field. Obviously, we weren't good enough there. If teams are going to challenge us at the line of scrimmage, if teams are going to challenge us to throw the ball deep, we have to show that we can do that. If we can do that, it starts with me and really giving our guys a chance. I think it is really going to open up the offense and make us a better team in general. And the reports are that Mahomes looks very good at Chiefs minicamp to this point. And the other thing, too, is that you look at Mahomes' situation, all right? I don't think anyone with a brain is going to say that Mahomes has regressed and taken a step back, contrary to popular belief among many in the mainstream media. That just isn't factual. The truth of the matter is that Patrick Mahomes, in the last couple of seasons, has not been put in the best position to succeed, as the receiving core has taken a step back in recent memory. The offensive line has had some issues. And now here we are entering 2025, and Mahomes is getting the help that he needs. The offensive line should be drastically improved. We've had some good updates on Josh Simmons. We'll get you one on him coming up in just a moment, what he's done. You have some real depth now with Jalen Moore potentially being a backup offensive lineman, an overqualified sixth offensive lineman in the receiving core. Rashee Rice has looked fantastic to this point, even though we don't expect him to be there when the season begins. Xavier Worthy, I know he suffered that, went through concussion protocol anyway, but he had looked good up until this point. Jalen Royals coming along nicely. More on him coming up later. Travis Kelce in shape, and Noah Gray looking very good as well. All that to say that Mahomes, he's still improving. I don't think that he has played his best football of his career just yet, as crazy as that sounds. And I think with the pieces around him getting better, getting the help that he needs, and then the emphasis on the downfield passing game, which they plan to take a step forward in, a bigger emphasis on, which we haven't really seen much of since Tyreek Hill departed, all is good for QB number 15 in Kansas City, and he's a big winner in more ways than one here to start off training camp. Prediction time, our pin comment today. Will this be Patrick Mahomes' best season yet? Type play for yes, in for no. You might get an ad break while the ad's playing. Get your votes in and let me know what you think. One of the big conversations of Chiefs training camp to this point has been all about left tackle Josh Simmons, the number 32 overall pick out of the Ohio State. He is already stepping into that starting left tackle role. It would appear that he has won the job that there is no competition there. The torn patellar injury that he suffered appears to be just fine, that everything's coming along nicely, and even getting into a little scuffle with Ashton Gelati earlier this week as well. Matt Nagy, Chiefs offensive coordinator, had this to say on Josh Simmons. I like where he's at mentally right now. Don't usually say that about a rookie. We all see what goes on out here at practice, but then we take it to walkthroughs inside, and he's so laser-focused and listening to offensive line coach Andy Heck. Maybe there's a mistake or an assignment where he didn't go to the right spot, so we repeat it and go through it and can't have enough of those. Physically, he's super talented. It's the mental side and the communication part that he's working on, but I really like where he's at. He's a true pro right now, and this is just the beginning. He's coming along nicely. I think that if we were to have a conversation right now about a true competition at the left tackle spot, with Simmons being a rookie, that would be okay. That would be more than fine if we were talking about him and Jalen Moore competing head-to-head. But he has done such a good job that there is no battle right now at the left tackle position. Just Josh Simmons, if the season begins today, is your starting left tackle right now. And to me, that's a tremendous sign of his progress and what he's doing, exactly what he needs to do for this Kansas City Chiefs team. And it's a huge step in the right direction. He is what I would say ahead of schedule at this point, which is music to my ears. You know, we would expect a rookie, especially at left tackle, arguably the hardest position to play on the football field, to go through some growing pains. But he is doing exactly what he needs to do. This has been a good offseason for Josh Simmons to this point. Another rookie on the list, we find wide receiver Jalen Royals out of Utah State. And Jalen Royals is another guy that already appears to be gelling with this Chiefs offense. We know that there's some question marks at the receiver spot at the beginning of the year with the idea that Rashee Rice potentially is not going to be around. And so you're asking yourself, who could step up? Who could get the job done? And Jalen Royals already looks like he's ready to go to answer the call, and he's got the attention of his offensive coordinator, Matt Nagy, who said this. Yeah, he's doing a good job. You got to go to OTAs again. Look like a lot of those rookie wide receivers. We put a lot on them, and I think he's grown from OTAs until now. In the summertime, he's been able to really, there are some little things he's doing within his routes, whether it's in zone or winning versus man. So he's doing some good things. We want to keep making them grow, leading through what he sees. I think he's a visualizer. So when he sees it, it takes him one time. Then the next time he comes back and does a great job. Just like what we mentioned with Josh Simmons, he is ahead of schedule at this point. And it would appear that he has already passed up Juju Smith-Schuster as the number 4 wide receiver on this depth chart. And if Rashee Rice is not there when the season begins, then you're talking about him in the number 3 role potentially, competing with Hollywood Brown for playing time in this offense. And he can do a variety of things, whether it's stretching the field vertically or playing the slot. Jalen Royals, I think, is going to be an impact player immediately, that he's going to have a big role within this Chiefs offense. And this is great to see. And he's another guy, too, much like Simmons. He was banged up a bit last year, so to see him already making this progress is a big deal for the Kansas City Chiefs at this point in time. Your chance to be honest with me. Do you believe in the rookie Jalen Royals? If you do, type B for believe. If not, type D for don't. Chime in the comment section. Tell us what you think. Up next, we find corner Trent McDuffie. McDuffie was the first player in Chiefs training camp to pick off Patrick Mahomes. And that is significant for a number of reasons. Not only is it very rare for anybody to be picking off Patrick Mahomes, but Trent McDuffie has not been one to haul in a ton of interceptions in his career. He got his first 2 this season. And then on top of that, too, we talked about on this show a lot over the last few months that we expected Trent McDuffie to move back to the nickel spot with the signing of Christian Fulton, with Jalen Watson back, and Noel Williams, of course, they drafted out of Cal. It seemed to be more of his natural position. And even though Christian Fulton isn't out there just yet, he's still getting healthy, they've already made the move to put McDuffie in that nickelback spot, and he's thriving. Here's what he had to say on the move back to nickelback. Every year's a new year, and you want to prove that you still have it, even in the nickel. I feel I have something to prove. On the outside, I have something to prove. This is simply a better fit for Trent McDuffie. This maximizes his skill set, and this is not a demotion by any stretch of the imagination. Let me make that very clear, my friends, that this is about maximizing Trent McDuffie's capabilities and his potential. And we've seen a number of very good corners in this league. Their best fit is playing the nickelback spot. When you talk Devin Witherspoon in Seattle, Greg Newsome II in Cleveland, the same can be said here for Trent McDuffie. And you think about this, too. He's just now entering his prime years. So I have every reason to think that Trent McDuffie's only going to improve. He's only going to get better. Now let's get the long-term contract taken care of, and I'm excited to see what he does here in 2025 and beyond. A good start to camp for him. Let's see him continue to thrive here going forward. We got an insane deal for Chiefs fans right now. This cutoff hoodie is on sale. It was $55. Now it's only $33 at chatsports.com/Chiefs sale is where you can get this today. We have other Chiefs merchandise at that same link for you as well. Go see for yourself now. Chatsports.com/Chiefs sale to get yours today. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. We also have other Chiefs merchandise at that same link. Go see for yourself now. Chatsports.com/Chiefs sale. The last winner on this list, we could name a lot, but we could only pick 5 for today's show. We're going to go with tight end Robert Tonyan, the former Green Bay Packer. He is making a strong case for why he should stick around. We already know the Chiefs have Travis Kelce, Noah Gray, along with Jared Wiley. And Tonyan has looked so good that the Chiefs might find themselves having to go with 4 tight ends and not let Robert Tonyan end up elsewhere. Here's what Andy Reid had to say about Tonyan in his progress. He's doing a nice job. He's a veteran, and he's been consistent. He's a good receiving tight end. For the Kansas City Chiefs, Tonyan has been a pleasant surprise at this point. He was a guy that was brought in to compete, see if he could potentially do something, and he's looked the best in camp that he's looked in years. And you're making that decision difficult for the Kansas City Chiefs on whether to cut him or not. He very well just might make this roster for the Chiefs. And that's a good thing, especially when you consider that the tight end position had some question marks. With Jared Wiley coming off that injury, how much older Kelce is now, what does he still have left to offer? And then, with Noah Gray having a good season last year, is that going to repeat? You want your strength in numbers. And I like what I've seen from Tonyan. Hopefully he keeps it up. And if he continues what he's done in training camp into the preseason, then there might be a roster spot for him. And then you got some options to work with at the tight end spot. Who is a winner from Chiefs training camp so far? We gave you 5. There's plenty of others to choose from as well. Sound off in the comments and weigh in, Chiefs Kingdom, who you think a winner from Chiefs training camp is. Let's go over the losers real quick. We'll start with Jawaan Taylor at the offensive tackle position. Began camp a bit banged up and then finds himself in competition for his job. You also got Mike Caliendo as well at the offensive guard spot. And for Mike Caliendo, it's a disappointing thing because here's a guy that last year started the last several games at the left guard spot and had the most experience of any of the Chiefs' left guard options. He struggled in the Super Bowl, but played pretty decent before that, and now he finds himself on the outside looking in. Let's start with Taylor. The pressure is on Jawaan Taylor. He is entering what will likely be his final season in Kansas City. He's been a liability when it comes to penalties, and he struggled with pass blocking, deals with this injury, and they throw Jawaan Taylor to end up splitting first-team reps with Jaylen Moore, which, if you're Jawaan Taylor, you should be saying to yourself, how did I let this happen? He has no one to blame but himself for creating a competition that should not be a competition based on what Jawaan Taylor is being paid, but he only has himself to blame for that. And then Mike Caliendo, in his case, is not looking good for him. Kingsley's done a really good job. Jalen Moore's gotten some first-team reps as well at the left guard spot. Moore's got a chance to potentially win one of these starting jobs when the season begins. And Caliendo might be your third option at the left guard spot, which is a significant fall-off from where he was on a Super Bowl team last year as the number one option at one point in time. So it's not that Caliendo has done anything wrong necessarily. It's just that he's getting passed up by other guys at this point in time. Appreciate you joining us here on this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. For continuing training camp coverage, subscribe now for free, youtube.com/ChiefsTV. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.